Victor Davis Hanson is a historian, a senior fellow at the Hoover Institution, and one of our favorite guests. Professor, thanks so much for coming on. What conclusions do you draw from this spectacle?
Well, I think that usually in normal times, Tucker, that we don't do insane things like let people out with no bail or do not prosecute people who are arrested or let felons out of prison. But these are confined to the campus: critical race theory, critical legal theory, critical penal theory. But I don't know whether it was COVID or the lockdown or George Floyd or the 120 days of rioting in summer of 2020 or the strange 102 mail-in ballots or the Biden left-wing agenda. But these academic theories got mainstream into actual policies of defunding the police and letting criminals out of jail and et cetera. And we lost deterrence. So the criminal today says, in a cost-benefit analysis, it's in my interest to commit a crime because I'm not going to pay the price for it. And then we can't deal with that reality. But if you're talking about white supremacy, we would like to go to certain data areas to confirm that. So when we look at rare interracial crimes, which are pretty rare, African Americans by a great number disproportionately commit them against whites versus blacks. That wouldn't be possible under a white supremacist nation. Or if you look at murders and violent assaults, African Americans in cases of murders are between 50 and 60%, even though they only make up 12% of the population. And whites are underrepresented. If you look at hate crimes, African Americans are overrepresented and whites are underrepresented. I'm not trying to justify any of this, I'm just giving you the data, but that data is toxic to these theories. So people try to suppress it, or they massage it, or they contextualize it. But we're never going to get to helping the people who really need the help in the inner city, the innocents, if we don't stop this crime wave. And a lot of it has to do with African American males who feel, one way or another, there's no deterrent left. And as far as the white supremacy, we recall, remember Lloyd Austin and Mark Milley gave us lecture after lecture about it. And so but one thing they didn't do, they never gave us any data. They didn't say, here's the Pentagon's data, here's the enlisted ranks. We have an epidemic where white soldiers are committing interracial acts of hostility at a greater number than Hispanics or Latinos vis-a-vis other race. They never told us that. But since they wanted to dwell on race, and proportional representation, which I think is very dangerous in a multiracial society, maybe whites are more violent in the sense that they're more likely to be in combat units, about double their numbers of the general population, and white males died at twice their numbers in Afghanistan and Iraq. Nobody ever talks about that. If that's what they mean by they took a gun and they went after the enemy and that makes them dangerous, I don't know if that's what they intended. But finally, Tucker, the left doesn't have an agenda in November, so we're going to hear Roe versus Wade, we're going to hear the Electoral College is racist, filibusters, we're going to hear white supremacy, and we're never going to hear, here's what we can do for energy, here's what we can do for deterrence of foreign policy, here's what we can do for inflation, none of that. So this is what it's all about.
It's pretty simple. If you improve people's lives, no matter what color they are, they'll vote for you. And if you don't, they won't. I don't know why they haven't figured that out.
They won't.
But they haven't. Victor Davis Hanson, great to see you.
We don't want to go back to a tribal, racialist society. We want to be content of our character, not the color of our skin.
Amen. Thank you.
Subscribe to the Fox News YouTube channel to catch our nightly opens, stories that are changing the world and changing your life. From Tucker Carlson Tonight.